Anime, I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too. Previously, Yuya was visited by Princess Lexia and her guards. Princess Lexia visited Yuya to express her gratitude and also proposed to marry him. However, Yuya said that love needs a process and he couldn't answer her at that time. Princess Lexia respected Yuya's opinion and also felt it was the right thing to do. Yuya also received an invitation from the king to come to his palace, as the king wanted to express his gratitude to him too. Switching to the present time, Yuya is seen about to enter another world through the usual door he passes through. When he had opened the door a little, Yuya remembered Owen's words, the captain of Princess Lexia's guard, that the place where Yuya currently lives is the most dangerous place, which they commonly call the darkest region. They believed there were many monsters inside, including the monster that Yuya had defeated before, which they considered a strong monster that could even destroy a large city. Hearing his words, Yuya wondered in his heart, what kind of city is Sage and Princess Lexia's residence? Yuya began to enter the forest and defeated some monsters there. He thought that the deeper he went into the forest, the stronger monsters he would encounter. However, Yuya decided to return and continue his exploration on another day. As he put away his sword and prepared to leave, he heard a sound of a dog in pain. It turned out that there was indeed a dog being attacked by a monster. Yuya tried to approach them while hiding behind a tree with his invincible skill. He saw that the monster was called King Orc, which had an extraordinary status with an attack level of 20,000. Yuya, of course, felt sorry for the small dog, but with his current level, he felt he could not defeat it. When Yuya turned around, the monster seemed to be cruelly trampling on the puppy. Unable to contain himself, seeing that, he decided to take out his weapon and intended to save the poor dog. He turned around, threw his spear, and ran towards the monster with a sword in his hand. A large hole appeared in the monster's stomach, and it disappeared without a trace. Without realizing it, Yuya had defeated the monster with ease. Yuya felt surprised, why he could defeat a monster with such a high level with just one attack. But then he remembered when he was still level 1, he managed to defeat a much stronger monster than him with that same weapon. The small dog that Yuya wanted to save earlier turned out to be safe, but it seemed wary of him, perhaps thinking that he was also a bad person. However, Yuya immediately took out a bottle of medicine that would help the dog recover and asked it to drink it. Suddenly, the dog became weak and fainted. Yuya was surprised to see it and immediately gave it the medicine again. In an instant, the wounds on the dog disappeared, and it woke up. Yuya felt relieved because he was able to help it in time. The dog became friendly, approached Yuya, and licked him. Yuya then asked where its parents were. It seemed that the little dog had lost both of its parents. Yuya offered it to stay with him at his house. The dog agreed, and Yuya gained a new skill because he was able to make a monster his friend. The small dog's name was Black Fenrir, which, as Yuya saw its status, was also very strong. It had a level of 510,000 points in attack, defense, magic, and others. After they became friends, Yuya decided to give it a name, and because of its black fur, he named it Night. When they arrived home, Yuya saw the items he had obtained from the King Ogre he had defeated. There were several items that were very rare, such as armor, an S-rank magic stone, a hairbrush, and meat from the Pig King. While brushing Night with a new hairbrush, Yuya looked at his own status. It showed that he was still at level 235, with 7,900 attack points. He realized that his level was stuck and didn't increase even after defeating very strong monsters. He was still confused as to why his level wasn't increasing, but he was sure that he would eventually understand the factors that would increase it. Returning to the real world, Yuya went to school and left Night at his home. At school, Yuya asked his friends about a pet shop and said that he had adopted a dog. Kaede seemed very interested in the dog and wanted Yuya to show her a photo of it. However, without realizing it, Kaede's face was very close to Yuya's, and Yuya told her, making Kaede blush. Yuya said he hadn't taken a photo of the dog because he didn't have a smartphone. His friends were surprised that there are still people who don't have smartphones these days. But Yuya explained that he didn't feel the need for one. Ryo then explained that there is a shopping district near the school that has a pet shop, and there is also an animal hospital there. Maybe Yuya also needs to have his dog checked there if something bad happens. Yuya then decided to go there after school. But because this was his first time, Yuya wanted one of his friends to accompany him. Yuya's two male friends were busy with their own affairs. Kaede then offered to accompany Yuya shopping. Yuya agreed, and of course, that made Kaede feel happy and think that it could be considered a date. The school day ended, and Yuya seemed to have arrived home in the evening. Knight was waiting for him. Yuya came home with food, a collar, and a leash for Knight so he could take him for a walk. Yuya said he bought it with Kaede in the shopping district. Yuya then took Knight for a walk. While taking him to the park, Yuya met Kaori. Kaori greeted Yuya and was curious about the dog he brought. Then Yuya introduced the dog to Kaori and said that the dog is his new family member. Kaori was very happy to see the dog and wanted to stroke his head. When Kaori was talking to Yuya while stroking Knight's head, Miyu suddenly came and greeted Yuya. It turns out that Miyu lives nearby, and she usually walks to the park in the evening. Kaori realized that Miyu was a model. Yuya explained that he had the opportunity to meet Miyu some time ago. Then Yuya also introduced Kaori and Knight to Miyu. When there were many people crowded there and watching them, Miyu asked permission to go home. Kaori then asked Yuya if he was dating Miyu. Yuya denied it, saying that he was not worthy of a beautiful model like Miyu. Kaori looked jealous at their relationship. Suddenly there was a woman screaming for help. It turns out that there was a robber who ran away with her bag. Yuya then commanded Knight to chase the thief while Yuya asked Kaori to help the woman who asked for help. The woman was not hurt, but she was worried about her bag. Shortly thereafter, Knight came back dragging the thief. When the thief heard that Kaori would contact the police, he immediately rebelled and managed to escape from Knight's bite. He took out a knife and intended to attack Kaori, but luckily Yuya managed to parry the thief's attack and subdue him. In short, the police came and handled the case. On another day, Yuya and Knight returned to the forest and planned to go deeper into it. They managed to defeat several monsters in the area. As they ventured further into the forest, Yuya saw a very powerful monster called the Crystal Deer. It was even stronger than the King Orc he had defeated before. The Crystal Deer had a level of 630 and its primary element was magic. Yuya hid behind a tree using his invincible skill, but the monster was able to detect his presence. Yuya felt that he couldn't attack it with a surprise attack, so he decided to face it head on. The monster used two magic elements that made it difficult for Yuya to fight. Yuya realized that he couldn't defeat it in the usual way, so he ordered Knight to distract the monster while he stabbed it with his weapon. After Knight managed to bite it from below and Yuya stabbed it, they finally defeated the powerful monster. After defeating the monster, Yuya checked the items he obtained from it. There were some rare items, but the most curious one was a small box that turned out to be a bath item. Yuya couldn't believe that he could obtain such an item from defeating a monster. He tried it and found that it worked perfectly. Yuya decided to use the item at home, allowing him and Knight to soak in warm water. On another day, Yuya went to the forest with Knight again and defeated several more monsters. His level increased and he gained several skills. He also saw that Knight's status had increased like his. Suddenly, a hole like an underground cave opened up in front of them. Yuya and Knight entered the cave, which was quite deep and showed no signs of monsters. At the end of the cave, Yuya was shocked to see a corpse, and Knight found a book with the title The Book of the Sage on its cover. Yuya opened the book and was surprised by its contents. In the end, elsewhere, a mysterious person was seen hiring an assassin to kill someone for them. This is the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss part 6 of this series recap.